stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show here. My last in the continental United States before I take my trip over, take my free speech into my own hands, heading to the UK. And head on over for my FSU game. Very excited about this. Very excited about this.
JP again.
Probably won't. If I bring the signs that I really want to bring, then I will be arrested and for hate speech and taken away. Yeah. So this will be the first college game day not in the United States, or at least not in Europe. They've never done game day for these games over here. And they picked the one where FSU was playing Georgia Tech after the ESPN snub and Kirk Herbstreit. I mean, we already have the script ready for Mike Norvell, I believe, right, for his appearance on College Game Day.
Yeah, do you want to hear our coverage of that?
Yeah, I think it's nice. We already have it written.
FU, 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 and FU. Peace out. I'm going to go have a Guinness.
Yeah, there it is. Mike Norvell's speech already written and approved by the Seminole Nation as he walks to the dais. That's it. I'm not sitting up here happy chatting with you guys, acting like you're some type of, friendly. No. We know what you are. We know who you are. And this is what you get. I got practice. See ya. I'm out.
Yep.
That's what I want to see. All right, we got a fun show for you today. We're going to talk a little college football. We're going to do our Hurricanes preview. We did FSU yesterday with Pat Burnham. Tim and I will handle the Hurricanes preview unless there's some hurricane expert out there that wants to jump into the show today. It's hard to find. They're hard to find. They're still a little. I think they're a little jumpy, Timmy. I think they don't want to jump out there like they normally do and predict the national championship because, as we know, the University of Miami wins the offseason every single year. They are the national champions in August every single year. And then they unfortunately have to play the football games. And dadgummit, it doesn't work out. When's the last time they won a title? 2001? Was it 01?
It has to be, right? Again, that was against, Ohio State?
Yeah, and then there was one stolen from them by Ohio State. There was that one.
Sure.
I'll give them that.
Sure.
But they stole 3 of ours. So it all works out in the end, right? That's how it goes.
I just don't know how, and I mean, I know we'll get into the preview here in a little bit. I just don't know how Hurricanes fans could be cocky this offseason after what happened last year. There's nothing to brag about.
Wait, are you serious? They don't live in a world of reality, my friend. They never have. So, of course, they're cocky.
Okay, look, who are you talking to about reality, okay? I'm an Aggies fan.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, and we say this all in fun, Hurricane fans. We say this all in fun because I know I look at this roster and I look at this team and I'm like, oof, they got talent up and down the roster. It is not a lack of talent whatsoever, but it never really has been in Miami, to be quite honest. It never has been. But we'll get into all that. So we'll do our Hurricanes preview for you today. We'll talk Rays and A's in what was promoted as a Major League Baseball game last night, but it was not. It was not a Major League Baseball game, and we're going to tell you why here in just a little bit. My favorite story of the day we'll get to, and Lord knows I don't want this to happen on my plane to Dublin. Goster Cherilus, former Buccaneer. We'll get into that. That's fun. And we'll talk some fantasy football here today as well. Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30 to talk Buccaneers, and Anthony Becht is back with us of the UFL St. Louis team. And we will chat with him about another successful season for him as a coach. I got to believe college football and even NFL teams are eyeballing Mr. Anthony Becht because he has had a great run in the UFL as a head coach. And I think some people are going to be knocking on his door very, very soon if they have not already. So we'll find out. We'll ask the question. He won't tell us, but we'll ask the question.
You just don't hear a bunch of that, though, these days. Like UFL or old XFL coaches being plundered by the NFL or anything. You don't ever hear about that. I wonder why.
Listen, if you can coach, you can coach. You know,
Yeah.
and I think especially at that level where there's no talent advantage. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly in college you have talent advantage. I wonder why my mic is not as good.
There it is. I was going to text you at the break.
It's 3 feet away from me. Dude, we produce on the air. You can just say that.
Yeah. I was going to text you at the break. Now, if you check your mic.
I had a lot of things going through my mind this morning, man. I haven't packed yet. I got a lot of things going through my mind, but I'm just glad I'm traveling with an attorney, Scott Jeeves. That's the most important thing. Heading over to the UK. Yeah, so we'll get into all that coming up on the big show today as we roll through. So, at the absolute risk of losing many of you, we're going to start with the Rays. And I'm not going to go over this 3-0 game last night out on the West Coast where there was about 12 people at the game. Do we really need to go through the fact that the Rays had 2 hits again in the game? I mean, 2 hits. There were 6 hits or 8 hits total in the game. Here you go. You've got two teams going up against each other, in the A's and the Rays, that both play in just pathetically horrible stadiums. Right, their owners have not invested in the stadium, have not invested in their fans. All they've done is collect money from Major League Baseball and revenue sharing and Central Fund, cash tons and tons of checks. Won a few games, sure. The Rays have been to the playoffs, but done nothing in the postseason recently. And here are the Rays with an active payroll of $43 million, revenues of over $300 million conservatively. That's by Forbes. Usually they're about 25% less. So if they were, the actual revenues are probably closer to $350 million in a $43 million payroll. The Oakland A's have a $30 million active payroll. At 54 and 71, they have a $30 million active payroll. And Miami, by the way, is last at $13 million. Although they started the year at 96, the Rays started the year at 88, according to Sport Track. So 2 teams, 28th and 29th in payroll. And the Rays with a respectable 62 and 62 record. They're 500, believe, for the 27th time. How they've achieved that is Kevin Cash miracle, or I don't know how they did that, because once again, here is your indomitable Rays lineup. Yandy Diaz hitting a respectable 273 at the top. Brandon Lau 252, been hitting really well lately. Caballero at 233, Josh Lowe at 240, Caminero at 286, 0 for 3 last night, but did have a walk. Dylan Carlson 217, Jose Siri back in the lineup. Hooray, hallelujah. 194. Taylor Walls 176. He's brought that up from about 153, and the great Alex Jackson at 127. And this is and these guys struck out 11 times last night for the Rays, 2 hits. So if you stayed up for this, I want to know who you are, because I'm going to send you a Rays t-shirt. If you stayed up and watched this whole game, I will send you a Rays t-shirt, and I will take you at your honesty that you did, because you are a glutton for freaking punishment. I mean, you imagine in the NFL a team spending $130 million less than the salary cap. Just the owners, there would be such an outcry. There would be such an outcry by that fan base. Like, what are you doing? Of course, the NFL doesn't allow them to do that. There is a floor. Every league doesn't really need a floor because owners are expected to spend to the salary cap. But you have owners like Stu Sternberg, who, as soon as they got, who had this ruse of a payroll that so many people celebrated, which was absolutely a joke. And he celebrated, they're up to $96 million. He's like, I'm uncomfortable with this payroll. Even though you're bringing over $350 million in revenue, allegedly, according to the lawsuit and Forbes magazine. So, I mean, and then you cry poor and go to the city of St. Pete and say, we really can't afford all this. So we're going to need $1.6 billion in handouts to get this done. And of course they give it to you. Interesting to note that Mayor Welch was going to give $250,000 in bonuses to his employees who are already handsomely paid for what they do, for negotiating contracts and doing their job. They're all handsomely paid, many of them well into the 6 figures. But since you bilked the taxpayers out of $1.6 billion so expertly, we're going to give you a bonus. I'm going to spend another $250,000 of taxpayer money to reward you for bilking the taxpayers out of $1.6 billion. And so evidently there was a backlash. There was a backlash because of how totally absurd that is. And he has now rescinded those bonuses. So sorry for you employees, because I mean, you know, it'd be nice to get a little bonus there, but can we? That's all right. Don't worry about it. There'll be a little something in your stocking, I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll get around that for sure. But how just ridiculous is it to think that of the four major sports leagues in America? Yes, I said four. There's not five. That we're talking about owners not just spending that much less than the salary cap, right? Because the goal is to spend the least amount as possible, but still be competitive. Like that's every team's goal. But you can't. But
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say. I think the goal for most owners is to win.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, but you want to spend as little amount as possible to do that. You don't want to just go over. You're not. Everyone's not the Yankees, all right? They don't care what they spend.
Yeah.
But for revenue and you know your bottom line, you want to spend as little as possible to be competitive. But now we're talking about not just one team, maybe three teams in Major League Baseball that they're spending so little, it's a joke around the league, and yet the league still hasn't stepped in to do anything about it.
Yeah, they still refuse to put a floor in for salaries, and the Players Association has complained about this, and I think finally they're going to go to the mat for it. I think finally this time they're going to go to the mat, and this is going to be their number one issue. And I don't know when the next CBA is, but they damn well better get a floor because there's too many owners in making money. So, is that your Wi-Fi or mine?
Wasn't mine.
No, ours has been a little spotty lately. But anyway, we've gotten to the point there where something needs to be done because that's a joke of a baseball game last night. That is an absolute joke of a major league baseball game. The MLB should be embarrassed by what they're doing, and a lot of the problem is the MLB has allowed these super teams, so to speak, to just collect a ton of the star talent, you know. And I think there needs to be if you had a floor, that would fix it. That would floor and a cap. You could have a floor and a cap. I don't think the Players Association will ever agree to a cap. There's this, you know, the luxury tax is supposed to be the cap, but you know, God bless these owners who really don't care and are really, really trying to win. Listen, and they're still making money. Baseball just rakes in money. I mean, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Braves. I mean, these teams are well into $600, $700, $800 million in revenue. I mean, and when you add in, because some of them own their own cable companies and own their own broadcast, so you know, on the books they can make it look like whatever they want. But just in terms of revenue coming in and what they're able to use, it's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But it's the ones at the bottom that are a joke. And if Rays fans can sit there and say, "Oh, well, we make the playoffs and we do this, we do that," your owner is banking so much money. And they could have spent so much more money on these players and still had a much more competitive team this year, but they don't. And so I'm going to talk about the game last night. We're going to just call it what it is. That was a minor league baseball game. It was a minor league baseball game. And any fans that went there have been cheated by that owner out there, that awful owner, John Fisher, and the Rays fans have been cheated as well. But you can sit there and celebrate. Hey, the new stadium is on the way. We'll be good in the future. Great. I hope it all works out, but I'm still rooting for ownership change. No question.
Insane.
Yeah. And as Thomas Casper points out, Fairbanks out for the year. Yeah, we told you that yesterday. That's going to crush them. But we'll see. I guess Uceda can be their closer. He's been really, really good. Young kid, got tremendous stuff. Like to see that the rest of the way, see how he can grow into it. Lonnie Wilkins says, "I'm tired of the nerds saying batting average doesn't matter. Case in point, watches this BS last night and across baseball. It's like a plague. Dickie V tweeted about it and morons ripped on him. Kudos to Dickie V." Yeah, there are a lot of analytics that are better, quote, better than batting average. And you can go, on base percentage, obviously, slugging, obviously. But the bottom line is if everybody in the league is hitting 240, I think that's the league average is or actually below 240 now. It's boring baseball. It's strikeouts and walks, and it's the occasional home run. And to me, I'd like to go back where, I mean, you would never remember reading the box scores back in the day, Timmy. You'd never see a regular hitting below 200. Like that was extremely rare. That was a
Didn't
guy
stay in the lineup very long if he did.
Hell, and you rarely see anybody under 235, 240. Like it was an embarrassment to be under 240. And now that's the league average. So I know it's because they want long balls and swinging for the fences, free swingers. I just don't think it's an entertaining game, and I don't think it's sustainable in terms of the fan base. I think there's, that's why all these other leagues, including the WNBA and every other, I mean, pickleball and everything else are gaining viewers while baseball is losing viewers. And I don't know how you mandate that, but I think, maybe the powers that be, the general managers out there should start looking for players and elevating players with high batting averages that don't have as much power, because they turn into runs, scoring runs, getting guys on base for the guys that do have power. That's still a thing, if I'm not mistaken.
And I am all for defensive baseball. I'm on record on a lot of shows, including my own, saying this, that I would much rather watch a 2-1 pitcher's duel than an 11-10 home run derby any day of the week. But look, what happened between the A's and the Rays last night was not a defensive baseball game. There
was a couple nice defensive plays. The Rays turned a couple of really nice, Taylor Walls turned a couple of really nice double plays, but that ain't getting me, up at night to watch baseball.
Right. I want meaningful at bats, guys on base. Give me, a double play with two men on and one out to get a pitcher out of a jam in an inning any day. You don't see a lot of that with these teams that just don't, and I don't want to say they have and I'm certainly not calling the Rays and the A's out for this, but when you talk about teams that have a lack of talent, that doesn't mean I think they're talentless, clearly, because there's talent on every major league roster. But for whatever reason, certain teams are just prone to offers. You get 3 or 2 hits over 9 innings. What the Rays have 2 last night?
2
hits, 5 walks, though. Look, that walks can be exciting, but you don't do anything with the walks. That's just as good as
they do. They usually do something with the walks. They usually get thrown out on the bases. So at least there's some action.
Where's your defensive baseball right there?
Yeah. So make the most of it. So it's just bad baseball. It's bad to watch. It's boring baseball. This weekend was good. The Diamondback series with 2 of the 3 games were pretty exciting. Great comebacks. But on general, it's just been a lot of bad baseball. And it's just, right after the vote is taken, you unload all the players. It's just so transparent exactly what you're trying to do and where your priorities lay. I love this one. Lonnie giving us a kind of a Ric Flair this morning. Said when Stu says financially uncomfortable, then trades guys, aka dump salary, for players so young they'd have to keep Wander away from them.
Oh, Lonnie, you're getting one of these right here as soon as I can find it. This is just for Lonnie.
Or worse. There you go. Because the teams like Stu Rays are gaming the luxury tax. Yeah, and other owners don't like it, by the way. They do not like it at all. Lonnie says they had a chance to go all in, and the Rays opted to shed money on good players and didn't trade these untouchable 198 hitters. Grit and glow, baby. Skateboarders, dude. Harley has to.
Struggling.
More and more you look at that whole skateboard thing, it's an embarrassment. Jordan G calling me out said, I missed yesterday's show. How much did you trash per usual? Well, Jordan, if you'd like to know, I actually said, or maybe earlier, that Trask is now secured the backup quarterback job because he went out there and did what I said he needed to do, and that's not put the ball in harm's way. Now, his first 2 throws were god-awful, as usual, 3 and out. But then he went on a nice drive. I think it was 5 for 5 on the drive, and nice touchdown pass, but did not put the ball in danger. That's what I'm asking. Just you're the backup quarterback. Don't go out and lose the game. Show us you can take care of the football. And he did that. So I think he secured the backup job. But as we talked about yesterday, is Trask the future at the backup quarterback position? I'm going to say no. Do I have confidence in him that he can come in and win a few games? Not from what I've seen this preseason. I mean, last preseason I had some confidence in him, but this preseason has not been – I don't think he's been great, and I've been to almost every practice. I don't think he's been great. But I look around the league and I see Mac Jones is the backup to Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones is a hell of a lot better and more experienced than Kyle Trask. I think the Bucs can upgrade at backup quarterback in this offseason. I don't know if they'll keep him, and maybe he gets a chance to play this year and proves himself. And then my opinion would change. He's not really gotten a chance to prove himself in a game at an NFL level. So we don't know. But the thing is, we don't know. But I do know Mac Jones, I'd feel real comfortable with having Mac Jones as my backup quarterback. You look around the league, what Sam Darnold would have been the backup to J.J. McCarthy, probably better than Kyle Trask. I mean, there's some good backup quarter. You got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. So you look around the league, there's some pretty good backup quarterbacks, guys that are fighting for the position. I don't get that sense of security from Kyle Trask. Is that fair? Not to say that he can't do it, Jordan. It's like I haven't seen him do it. I haven't seen him have any success. Is that his fault? I don't know. I think, the Bucs had opportunities to play him. They chose not to. They could have played him in the last game in Carolina because Baker Mayfield was not healthy. We know that. Mm-hmm. They could have played him 2 years ago in that finale, that meaningless finale in Atlanta. And Brady wanted to play. But if they had confidence in Trask, they would have put him out there, I guess. But he hasn't had the opportunity or has not made the opportunity, not forced their hand to say, he's so good in practice, we got to see him in a game.
Do you think the Bucs have a problem at backup quarterback?
I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, my guess is if Kyle Trask had to play, my guess is, and throw 35 balls. First of all, I wouldn't do that as a coordinator, but if they got 8 in the box, you got to throw the football. It's the NFL. College football, you got to do that. So, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. And I'd like to feel comfortable that he could come in and win games. I think he can. I mean, we saw him in college. He was freaking unbelievable. But we don't know. We just don't know. And
because, there's going to be other guys available here as we get closer to the beginning of the regular season. And there's one guy in particular that I like, and for the Cowboys, we're fine with Cooper Rush, right? I don't think he's lost a start since he's been, maybe one, since he backed up Dak, so fine. That's his role.
You've seen him do it. You have a sense of comfortability that he can come in an NFL game and not lose the game for you. And maybe even win.
Right. But I don't know if I have that same feeling for the Bucs with Trask or Wolford, to be honest with you.
No.
So there's a guy up in Cleveland right now who's probably not going to make the team, who is a solid, proven backup quarterback in Tyler Huntley. Right? He was in Baltimore the last few years.
Yeah.
He damn near won a playoff game against the Bengals, if not for a goal line weird fumble return for a touchdown by the Bengals in the playoffs couple years ago.
That's true.
And I don't think he makes the Browns, and he signed with Cleveland in the offseason as a free agent. I don't think he makes the team because I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to be your third guy who's outplaying Huntley in the preseason, who outplayed him in training camp. Jameis Winston is your number 2. That's certified. And, of course, Deshaun Watson is your number 1. I don't think Huntley makes the team. Now, there's a good chance he goes back to Baltimore because Baltimore is a mess at backup quarterback right now.
Yeah, I think he does.
But if somebody like Huntley is available, who's sort of proven at the position, do you think the Bucs go out and make a change?
I don't think they do this year. I think they're probably comfortable with Wolford and Trask just because you get the guy. You got to bring a guy in, teach him your system. How much better is he going to be than those guys within the system?
Sure.
By the time you get him up to speed, no training camp, no nothing. It just seems like that's even a bigger risk at this point, right? So I don't think they'll make a change this year, but I think in the offseason, they'll look at it. I don't think there's any question. Maybe even bring in a young guy to develop behind Baker Mayfield.
Which is what you thought you were doing with
Trask.
With Trask behind what's his face, right? Behind
Brady.
Brady.
Right.
Yeah. So I said what's his face because I couldn't remember Tom Brady's name. Jesus.
Hear what Tom Brady said. Got him in some hot water.
Yeah.
We'll go over that quote in a little bit.
Always news.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see how Brady responds.
Mm-hmm.
Does he stand his ground or does he apologize? We'll see. James says, I like Wolford because
what he's going to do.
Yeah, exactly. I like Wolford because he can use his legs. Look, I get it. Trask a second-round pick, but maybe this pick was more Bruce Arians than Jason. I think that's fair.
Possibility.
I think that's fair. James says, I think Bucs are fine a backup if it's Trask or Wolford. I just like Wolford because he has a relationship with the OC and has played in a Rams playoff game. He's got more experience. He's definitely got more NFL experience playing in games than Trask does. And that's what you want if Baker's going to be out a game or two, right? Jordan says you can play average to above quarterback play in the NFL now and make $100 million. Guys will we label elite like Hurts and Love statistically are average, but make $300 million. Yeah, it's come to the point now where you have to pay quarterbacks before they've fully proven themselves. Like Jordan Love has not fully proven himself. He could fall flat on his face this year. And you got a lot of guaranteed money wrapped up in that, but the Packers had no choice. Like they had to do it. I think, same in Arizona. You're almost got a gun to your head if you got a young quarterback that you've invested a first-round pick in, and if he's not Daniel Jones to some degree, although I think the Giants could have cut him, and I don't think anybody would have been pissed off.
The Jordan Love scenario is really interesting to me. Especially being here in Dallas and watching that playoff game last year when Green Bay came to Dallas and Schlauber knocked the Cowboys in their home stadium in the playoffs. If that game doesn't go that way, the landscape of NFL quarterbacks is completely different. If Dallas wins that game like they're supposed to, Dak's already signed and has a long-term deal because he won in the playoffs. And Jordan Love is still probably without a deal because Green Bay's waiting until this year to see what he does.
Yep.
So one game, that one performance by Jordan Love secured his financial future in Green Bay for years to come.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
And that could have just been a situation where, they got a good couple of good matchups in the game. They hit a couple of big plays. It just, and there it goes. I mean, everything changes based on, 2 or 3 plays. Because as I recall, he got hot and hit a couple of big plays in the early. Dallas got behind and it just kind of snowballed against him. But is Jordan Love really that good? I mean, he played well in the last half of the season. Not the whole season, the last half of the season. Mm-hmm. So you project that but I mean, we got people already putting him in the top 5. I'm like, pump the brakes for God's sake.
Look, and I like him a lot, but I mean, I want to see what he does this year to follow up before I start putting him on lists.
All right, we're up and rolling here on the JP Peterson Show. Scott Reynolds is going to join us. Anthony Becht is going to join us. St. Louis Battlehawks head coach, also doing the Jets radio broadcast or TV broadcast this preseason. So we'll talk some Jets. He always follows the Bucs. So we'll talk all kinds of football with Anthony Becht and Scott Reynolds. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. My traveling partner, Scott Jeeves. He'll join us from Dublin on Thursday and Friday when we do our shows from there. And if you need an attorney, folks, he is your man. He is aggressive. He is well regarded in the legal field, and he will get results for you. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. That's the motto at Jeeves Law Group. Go to the website, Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Contact them through there and get a free case evaluation. Any questions that you have about a case, whatever it is in the legal realm, they will answer it for you and tell you if you have a case. It is free. JeevesLawGroup.com. Back in 3. Celebrate August with the dazzling green hue of peridot, known for its vibrant and refreshing sparkle. Yes, that's the birthstone of August at the Gold and Diamond Source. Explore the Gold and Diamond Source's stunning collection of peridot jewelry, showcasing the gemstone's unique glow and versatility in rings, necklaces, and earrings. Peridot's distinctive color makes it a standout choice for any occasion, adding a touch of elegance and charm to your ensemble. Enjoy 15% off when you shop August Gems online only. Stop by the Golden Diamond Source to experience the allure of August gem and let their expert staff help you find the perfect peridot piece. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmsted Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the J.P. Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. Folks, they've been 60 years, named the Small Business of the Year Chamber of Commerce, mostly because of their incredible customer service. So they'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance, make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799, ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now.
Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo is my primary care. Scott Reynolds as well. Tim is not signed up yet, but we're going to get you there. Just head on over there, get your testosterone right, get your nutrition right, your workouts right, a personal plan for your entire health to keep you healthy, not just when you're sick. Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. And let's bring in the aforementioned Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report. Good morning to you, my friend. And
how are you?
Maybe you probably drove over to Jacksonville, but
I did. Yes.
On your next flight, may you not be pissed on by Goster Chairless.
I'm going to try to avoid that.
No.
Yeah.
I'll be headed to Dublin. He was headed to Dublin. I guess he was going.
I think so. Yeah.
So I'm going to maybe find some FSU fans that may have been on the dreaded flight.
They got pissed on. Yeah.
They got pissed on and pissed. I mean, there's a lot of pissed off FSU fans.
Right.
They got pissed on.
So, who was Florida State playing in the game?
Georgia Tech, and he went to Boston College.
He went to Boston College. Yeah.
I don't know, but There's got to be. I guarantee you, one of my friends was on that flight. So
Yeah.
we want all the.
Maybe
details.
it's the fact that Georgia Tech and Florida State have golden helmets.
Yeah, he was confused because
Maybe.
evidently he said he took a sleeping medication he doesn't usually take, so that led him to beat up a passenger and urinate on another dude. So if you were,
it's quite the medicine to avoid.
I mean, again, we've all been there, though, right?
Of course. You know, when I'm in 14C, right? I'm going to walk into the back of the plane. I'm just going to whip that tiger out and have a spray, right?
I mean, I just took a hour and a half flight from Dallas to Kansas City last week, and I need 3 hands to count the number of people I wanted to urinate on the flight.
But you didn't pull the trigger, though, Tim. That's the important. No arrest for you.
And that was after about 12 beers at the airport, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thank God he passed out. But can you imagine, like, you're over the Atlantic
wow.
Ocean, and there's like this humongous hulking dude is like running around the plane.
Here's the thing. It's like, did you have to turn around? I mean, like, just keep going and just put him in just lock him in the bathroom. That's probably where he needed to be.
Put the old duct tape after he falls asleep. Give him the old duct tape.
Exactly.
Wrap him in cellophane.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than like flying across the Atlantic and having to go back and then fly all the way again. You know,
that's what they did. So I guess they went back. It was an hour out, and they went back.
They're only an hour out. Okay, if they're like 3 or 4 hours out, it's like just
then you just go. Yeah, hand them over to the Irish officials.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but that's not why we brought you here to talk about the great Coster Chairless, former Buccaneer. We're talking about some new Buccaneers who are going to be battling this week to make the roster.
Yeah,
I was reading Josh Capo's piece on Pewter Report, real good one about those fringe players. So let's start there with guys who may or may not make the roster here. What you think about their chances? And he mentioned Keenan Isaac at corner.
Yeah.
And I think he's made a good case for himself to stick. Would you agree?
Me, he's the 4th best corner on this team. Right,
I would agree.
Bryce Hall. The problem is, though, as of yesterday, they were still running Josh Hayes, EMAW, go K-State, but he's not very good at cornerback. He's much better in special teams. He's kind of reminds me of like Ryan Smith, that special teams ace.
Yeah.
Who was like cornerback 5 on the depth chart, but then you didn't really want him to play cornerback. You just want him to be a gunner and go cover kicks and punts. That's what he does well. Keenan Isaac, though, is a legit special teams guy. I think he can, do enough on teams to make his case. The problem is when you're looking at the 53-man roster, really from like 45 to 53, that's special teams guys. And that's why Todd Bowles always says, we have to keep the right 53, not necessarily the best 53, right? For example, now I think it really works out well in the case of Jose Ramirez because he has outshined Marquise Watts as a pass rusher in these 2 preseason games for sure. Watts had a great sack and was right there for another one. He kind of was a nice setup man to Jose, but Jose's just had the better camp from an outside linebacker perspective. That being said, Marquise Watts is a core special teams player. And that was kind of what kept Jose Ramirez off the roster and on the practice squad last year was that Jose wasn't really on teams and Marquise is. And so this might be a case where they keep 6 outside linebackers this year. Marquise earning the 6th spot because he's not the pass rusher that Jose has developed into, but he has got special teams value. And then you don't want to cut Jose just because he doesn't play special teams because he is a good developmental, like pass rusher. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing is having that flexibility with the depth chart to sit there and say, we're going to keep 6 outside linebackers this year, especially with the kickoff coverage unit really becoming more of a defensive play rather than a true special teams play. So I think, there. But then it's like if you keep 6, then you have to like short a position because you typically keep 5. Maybe that's 3 running backs instead of 4. Maybe it's 3 tight ends instead of 4. Yeah, 3 running backs. Right. Yeah. I mean, so it's a fun puzzle to put together. I think that there are some players, and we're doing a Pewter Report roundtable at 11 o'clock on the guys that will stand on the table for at Pewter Report. And all 5 of us pick a different player. And some of those guys are Keenan Isaac, Marquise Watts, who I wrote about, Devin Culp, the fourth tight end, who I think really is the third tight end. I think he's just better than Kokeef. But Kokeef is a valuable special teamer. If you look on that kickoff coverage, for example, it's all defensive players except for one. It's Kokeef. And he's the guy that goes down and makes the tackle. So he has some value there. And then, Cody Thompson is another one. Cody Thompson, I thought, had a really good game at Jacksonville. Good week. He's had a good camp.
Yeah.
And he deserves it more than Raheem Jarrett, who just got hurt at the wrong time and has not been consistent enough. Cameron Johnson's another guy to keep an eye on. They want to look at him. I wouldn't be surprised if the last two wide receivers on this team at 5 and 6 are Cody Thompson and Cameron Johnson, because those are the guys that have flashed the most. I don't see how Sterling Shepard makes this team. What you do is you put him on the practice squad like they did with David Moore last year, like they should do with Chase Edmonds, who does not deserve a spot in the 53. And also you put John Wolford on the practice squad as 3 veterans on the practice squad who don't deserve to be on the 53-man roster. And you know what else? No one's going to pick them up either. No one's going to want those guys.
And that's the thing, right? Sometimes it's more about who you can get to the practice squad that nobody else is going to take.
Exactly.
Some guys with upside, like a Marquise Watts, guys, younger players that have flashed, those are guys that other teams are already looking at. We've even heard people in the media say, or other coaches like, hey, the Bucs have a stacked wide receiver core. We'll wait to see who they get rid of.
Right, exactly.
And everybody come looking. So sometimes it's more about, hey, nobody went to get Sterling Shepard before the season. They ain't going to come get him now.
Yes.
So we can put him on the practice squad.
Exactly. No, I'm with you on that. I think it's a good strategy. And again, I would much rather invest in younger developmental guys than sticking a veteran on the roster, because he can still be in the locker room, still be on in the team meeting, still be that veteran mentor, but just not on the 53. For example, we talked about the 6 outside linebackers. It's worth mentioning that Joe Tryon, Shoyinka, and Anthony Nelson are in contract years. So one of those guys may not be here next year. Maybe both aren't. So you would want to keep a Jose Ramirez. You'd want to keep a Marquise Watts.
That's a great point.
In that developmental, mold and on the depth chart, right? Because good pass rushers are hard to find. These are 2 guys worth developing. And if they're flashing now, unless they're hitting their ceiling, I don't think either guy is. I want to see what they look like next year after playing in 2024 and getting some more experience.
Scott Reynolds joining us here from the Pewter Report. Did the Bucs make a mistake in not being more aggressive in going after Matthew Judon and leaving him for the Falcons?
It's such a gamble. I mean, I went back and researched this. Shaq Barrett retired at age 31. Okay. His play fell off last year when he turned 31 in October. 4.5 sacks or 4 sacks, whatever it was. Just not the same player after that Achilles injury. Simeon Rice was done at 32. I mean, just no more gas in the tank. Done. JPP was done at 32. Same thing. Pass rushers are not like quarterbacks. They're not like offensive linemen where you can play into your mid or late 30s, even if you're a freak of nature like Simeon Rice was. Done at 32. J.J. Watt retired at 33. And J.J. Watt had a great season. He went out with the bang, 12.5 sacks, but the 3 previous seasons before that were injury-riddled, and he just got sick and tired of being injured. Aaron Donald retired at 32. Still on top of his game, still capable of getting double-digit sacks for probably a couple more years, but just no more gas left in the tank. So Matthew Judon coming off of a torn bicep injury, and he's not a speed guy. He's a power player. We saw what happened with Gerald McCoy at the end of his career. He tried to go to Dallas and do something, he played a year at Carolina, got injured, went to the Raiders, got injured there. He was done. If Judon works out, it'll be for this year only at age 32, and maybe he gets 10 or 12 sacks. Maybe he is this year's Shaq Barrett where he gets 4 and underwhelms. But he's disgruntled. He wants a new contract. From what I heard, he did not look good in the joint practices between the Patriots and the Eagles. So, I think that's probably – and here's the thing. If you acquire Judon and all you're getting is another Shaq Barrett, 4 sacks, and all of that, you're stunting the growth of your second-round pick, Chris Braswell.
Yep.
And guys like Jose Ramirez and Marquise Watts will not see the field. They will be inactive on game days, and that's going to stunt their growth. So I like the calculated risk of going with the young guys who know your system, who know Todd Bowles' defense, who have at least 2 years in it outside of Braswell, and develop them, give them the reps. I think Chris Braswell is going to be like Yaya Diaby, who did not get his first sack until week 8 at Buffalo. So he led the team with 7.5. Didn't start until late November, right? But all those sacks came in the second half of the season. And I could see Chris Braswell being the same thing. And listen, Yaya was a 3rd-round pick. Nothing was really expected of him. With the 2nd-round pick, all eyes are on Chris Braswell, so he's going to be viewed as a disappointment if he doesn't have a sack in the first 4 weeks. I'm just saying, be patient. I've seen enough flashes. This guy has the tools. He just has to put it all together. So does Judon make the Falcons better? Yes. Would he make the Bucs better? I don't know, because I still believe in these young pass rushers, and we saw glimpses of what they could do on Saturday night.
True that. Absolutely. We were just having a debate, and some commenters chimed in as well. Are you comfortable with Kyle Trask as your backup quarterback?
No, but what are you going to do about it?
Or Wolford? Yeah. I mean,
not Wolford. No, not Wolford. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. I like bigger quarterbacks. I would take Kyle Trask over Wolford just because you can see over the line of scrimmage. Baker Mayfield just has some subtleness about his game. He can operate. There's a couple guys that can, right? Russell Wilson has, during his career, been able to operate as a 5'11", 6-foot guy. Baker Mayfield has. Drew Brees certainly did. There's a couple guys that can do it. John Wolford is not one of those guys.
Yeah.
He can't see over the line, and then when he rolls out, he cuts the field in half, and he has to throw the ball out of bounds or take a sack or whatever, right? So, I'm not sold on Wolford. And here's the thing. This guy knows this offense better than Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask put together. He spent 3 years in L.A., and actually, I think he's regressed from last year. I thought he looked better in last year's camp than he has this year. Yeah. So I'm not in on Wolford. I liked what Trask did, being aggressive, rolling out, throwing to Cody Thompson for the touchdown. I like having a more aggressive Kyle Trask. I think that he pushes the ball down the field more in these preseason games, which he doesn't do as much in practice. Listen, we're in year 4. Greatness shows itself early, and this guy is not it. I've just seen enough. We're in preseason game. This is going to be preseason game number 12 for Kyle Trask.
He should be
4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he should have had a pair of picks, or at least one, right? Because at the end of that game. So I think next year you hit the reset button on the quarterback position, and you find another guy to develop.
Would agree with that. Timmy, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, we talked about on that subject. We talked about it a little bit ago, Scott. There's going to be a guy that I think is going to be available as a backup quarterback in Tyler Huntley. I don't think he makes the roster in Cleveland. I think he's behind DTR, and obviously Winston's the number 2 guy. Now, he may end up going back to Baltimore because they're kind of have a mess right now at their backup position. They don't really have anybody that's standing out behind Jackson.
With Josh Johnson, I mean, he was 11 of 11. So I say bring Josh Johnson back to Tampa. If they want to switch out Huntley for Johnson, I'll take Josh Johnson, who's 50, 52. So he's got to be 50 or something. But the guy is collecting a check.
Jim Harbaugh at San Diego University, not San Diego State, University of San
That's right.
Did he beat the Cowboys last year?
They're like the Conquistadors or something, or
yes, I don't know what the hell they are, but it was. I know this was a long damn time ago.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm not as close to the situation, obviously, as you guys are, but JP didn't seem to think they would make a change at backup this year. That they're going to wait a year before they do something like that.
Yeah, these guys
probably. Yeah, probably.
They know the system.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Another position of interest I'm looking at in Tampa is the tight end position. Now, I'm a big fan of Devin Culp. How close are we to Devin Culp starting in Tampa?
I don't think he's going to start. Listen, Cade Otton has had a tremendous camp. You want to talk about the most underrated, not talked about guy in training camp this year? It's Cade Otton. He and Baker Mayfield have this rapport. I think Chris Godwin's a little jealous, to be honest, because we know Mike is Baker's favorite. Cade Otton might have slipped into number 2.
Wow.
In terms of that. Yeah. I mean, he and Baker are going to pick up from where they left off last year, where, I mean, remember 8 catches, 89 yards against the Eagles, the touchdown catch against the Lions. He has caught the ball. He's gotten open. It's not flashy, and I'm not putting him in this class. But what I'm saying is remember Jason Witten was a sneaky tight end.
Yeah,
he didn't beat you with the speed, but he always found a way to get open because he did like these little subtle things, little head bob. He'd just snap off a route really quickly. You talk about one of the best tight ends at finding holes in zones, right? And he wouldn't get a lot of yards after the catch, but when it was 3rd and 6, he would do that little hook route for 7 yards and know exactly from a spacing standpoint, I'm going to catch the ball. Both these guys are going to collide on me, but I'm going to get the first down, right? That's what made Jason Witten so great. He was good in the red zone. And why was he good in the red zone? Because he was typically that third target in Dallas.
The third option. Yeah.
And so you've got Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Those are the top 2 guys. Cade Otton is going to be getting. You want a fantasy football sleeper pick?
Oh, absolutely.
Cade Otton. He is going to get 5 or 6 touchdowns this year, maybe more, because
his over under is like 3.5, right?
Yeah, I would definitely take the over.
Pound that, yeah. Jason Witten had shoulder pads the width of Texas. Like it was as big as the state. You couldn't get through
like
the
a gladiator.
They were like this big.
And Jason Witten was sneaking, like he was one of the larger human beings I've ever seen in my life in person.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up well on camera because he's next to all the offensive linemen, where he just looks normal.
Dude,
right.
Good God, he is a big man. And you know what? Part of the reason he was so successful, and it would be great if Otton shares this trait, is his consistency with running the routes. That's why he developed such a good rapport with Tony Romo for all those years. They were roommates.
Same with Baker. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Otton and Baker. And then, Witten did it with Dak for a couple of years too, because the quarterback always knew where he was going to be. He didn't have to think about that third option. He just could throw it. So, if Otton can do that with Baker, then man, that's a golden combo right there.
And Otton's catch radius, he's always open because he's so long. I mean, he's 6'5", but really long arms, and he's great at going down to get the ball as well. Usually tall guys don't really do that.
He'll go up for it. He'll go down to the ground, make the diving catch. Yeah.
And he's put on, since his rookie year, Scott, I'm going to say he's put on 25 good pounds.
Well, I wouldn't say that much. He
looks thicker in the neck, bigger in the arms, but he just looks bigger.
I think he's put on about 5 to 8 pounds, but he's totally reproportioned his body. He's leaned down and he's muscled up. There's no doubt. He looks different from his rookie season for sure. And I think he's in for a good year. You mentioned Devin Culp. To me, he's tight end 3. I would pick him over Kokeeft.
Yeah.
And Payne Durham's looked good too. Payne Durham has had some moments as well. So
it's Cade, Payne, and Culp. And I think I went into this year saying this is a really slight tight end group.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they need to go out and get a veteran. But right now, after seeing Devin Culp and what he's done, I feel real good with all 3. And Payne really has transitioned. It's so much better in his second year. He is 10 times better.
This is going to be a situation with these 3-by-1 sets, the 3 receivers on one side, they ISO the tight end there, and you'll see some 12 personnel. They're going to mix it in about 5% of the time, but Liam Cohen has different plays and packages where, like, Devin Culp could start the game at tight end, for example, but only see 7 snaps. Mm-hmm. But he might get targeted 2 times and finish with 2 catches for 22 yards on 7 snaps, right? And so you sit there and say, well, that's value, that's production, right?
Yeah.
And so there are instances where Devin Culp is featured. There are instances where Payne Durham is featured. There are instances where Cade Otton is featured. So I would say the tight end position, maybe even more so than wide receiver, is a little bit more package and play calling driven. So in other words, it's not just, it's a 3rd and 6. Let's just try out this formation. It's let's get Devin Culp on the field, right? In this situation, or it's goal line. Let's get Payne Durham on the field and goal line. If it's 3rd and goal from the 6-yard line, right? Because he's just a little bit of a bigger, rangier target. So I like how Liam Cohen's using the tight ends, and I think he's going to be using them more than maybe we expected.
Scotty, bigger picture. You were there in Jacksonville all last week. I thought it was a great wake-up call because, as I've dubbed it, Camp Kumbaya has been, nothing but rainbows and unicorns all
Jaguars
all year.
Won this week 3-0. They beat the Bucs in both practices, and they beat them in the game. Yep.
I think they needed that wake-up call because it's been so drama-free. Not that they're not working hard, not that they're not doing what they should, but it's like, we've been talking about how good they're going to be. The Jags said, you know what? You guys aren't there yet. You need to work a little bit harder. And I'm glad that we're going to see the starters this week. I want to see them go out and play some good football on both sides of the ball and get ready to play a Washington team that's going to be way better than people think. Jaden Daniels, I watched his entire game this weekend, and the dude is on point. I think he's better than Caleb Williams already.
I do.
Caleb does splash plays, but Jordan is like 3 steps. Boom.
The Chicago Bears.
Boom.
I mean, Caleb Williams is going to be better than Bryce Young, but this is a situation where Houston got the right quarterback.
Yeah.
And the Carolina Panthers didn't. And I'm not saying Caleb Williams is not going to be this or that.
Well, he'll be good.
He'll be good. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be great.
I agree.
I just do. I think he's going to be the dynamo in this draft class. And the Patriots got Drake May. That's the consolation prize. But this guy is the real deal. And it's kind of one of those things. It's almost like a catch-22. Do you want to catch him in his first game where you don't really know a lot about him because there's not a ton of film out there? I mean, there is. Todd Bowles has gone back and watched every LSU game,
right?
Which is something Lovie Smith didn't do, apparently, for Marcus Mariota. I'm going to focus on what he's done in Tennessee, during the preseason. And
we weren't ready for that run-pass option.
Yeah, we weren't Tennessee ready. Yeah, no shit, you weren't. Got your ass kicked by Marcus Mariota because you didn't watch any RPO film, Lovey. You didn't watch any Oregon film because they came out and just RPO'd your linebackers all day. 4 touchdowns from a rookie quarterback. Give me a break. But that's what happened. And so I think Todd Bowles is going to have a better showing against Jaden Daniels than Lovie Smith had against Marcus Mariota in his first start as a rookie back in 2015. Having said that, when's the best time to catch this guy? When he's first game or later in the season when he's got the feel of the NFL. He's just going to be dangerous, whether it's week 1 or whether it's, and you don't know enough about him, or if it's week 5 or 6 where you have some film on him. I like Jaden Daniels. I think the Commanders, Commodes, whatever you want to call them, did a good thing in getting him. He's legit. He's a scary guy, but at the same time, I do trust that Todd Bowles will put together a good game plan. I like the fact that Kalijah Cansey's going to be back. He's going to probably play this week. He's back at practice. Yeah. Diaby's going to be back. So there's going to be a lot of speed on this field to counter that speed that Jaden Daniels brings as someone who can roll around the pocket and also escape the pocket.
All right, Scotty, I know you got to run out of here by 11 here. I believe I heard you say so.
No, I'm good. You got me for a couple more minutes if you want.
Okay, cool.
If you want to kick me off, you can. It's your show. You get to do it.
Go ahead, Timmy. You wanted to jump in. No, I want you to stay.
I was going to say that
leave by 11. I'm like, cool.
On the whole Jaden Daniels thing, there's something to be said for a quarterback that was a 5-year starter in college. Now, I know there was a short COVID year involved in that, but especially in a league like the SEC, right? I know he played at Arizona State for three years and he came over, but
what it did for Brock Purdy.
Right. So there's something to be said for that type of experience in big league college football. And that's why these, like the whole Trey Lance experiment at North Dakota State, he didn't even start a full season, I don't think, between a couple of years there. And I just think there's something to be said. And clearly he's going to be the toast of this quarterback class, I think, going forward. I'm not high on Caleb Williams.
I'm not either.
I hope, it'd be a great story, I guess, but I don't care about that. I think it's Chicago and they're going to Chicago, just like Cleveland's going to Cleveland.
Right.
But it's Dan Quinn screwed up the last game for the Cowboys in the playoffs. I get it, against Green Bay. I'm happy for him going to Washington and gets another shot at a head coaching job. But man, he has completely turned over that defense too. Mm-hmm. And everybody's sleeping on Washington in the East, and I don't see it, man. I think they're going to be way better. They could be fighting for a title over here, and that's going to make a star out of Jaden Daniels really quick.
I mean, when you look at Jaden Daniels, and I go back to, I learned something from Jerry Angelo, the Bucs personnel guru, back after, this was the year after they drafted, this was like 94, summer 94, I had this conversation. They had just drafted Trent Dilfer over Heath Shuler. Remember, Heath Shuler was a big star at Tennessee. But the thing with Heath Shuler was he was kind of like that run pass, kind of like Ron Powlus was at Notre Dame back in the day. Mm-hmm. We're dating ourselves here, gentlemen. We're talking about Ron Powlus. But it's just that's kind of the the quarterback that Schuler was. And part of the reason why they liked Trent Dilfer was he came from Jeff Tedford's pass-happy Fresno State. And whether you think Trent Dilfer, was a good quarterback in the NFL or not or whatever, he did make the playoffs in 1997. He did make the Pro Bowl that year as like the third guy after a couple of guys dipped out. He did help win a Super Bowl, even though it was all the defense with the Ravens. But more importantly, he stuck around the league for a while. He was not a bust, who was the guy with the Raiders that came from LSU?
Jordan Russell.
Oh, Jamarcus Russell.
Marcus Russell. He wasn't a Jamarcus Russell, right? He wasn't a Achilles Smith. He wasn't one of those guys that just couldn't play. But the reason why they liked Dilfer over Schuler, and Schuler was drafted by the Redskins before Dilfer, so they had to kind of settle for Dilfer, but they liked him better anyways, was because of all of the dropbacks that he took, right? All of those opportunities to read defenses. And I mean, Jerry laid it out for me. He said, if you look in college, and both those guys came out their junior year, he had something like 200 more pass attempts than Heath Schuler. And every time you drop back, you're navigating the pocket, right? You're feeling pressure, you're reading a defense, and you're making a throw. And he was just a much more advanced quarterback coming to the NFL as a result. And I know that Jaden Daniels rushed for 1,000 yards last year, but he's a damn good passer. He passed a bunch at Florida, at Arizona State, and then certainly at LSU. And he had some good guys to throw to. Why would you not want to throw to Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors? I'm telling you, after seeing Brian Thomas Jr. in Jacksonville, this guy is going to be a star. Those 17 touchdowns last year were not a fluke. He was not wide receiver B to Malik Neighbors A at LSU. These guys were 1A and 1B. These guys are like 1 and 1. Brian Thomas Jr. is legit.
Malik Neighbors has Daniel Jones throwing him the ball.
Yeah, I would rather have Trevor Lawrence because those guys already have a connection. I saw that multiple times against this Bucs defense. So to put a period on the Jaden Daniels thing, I just think, yes, all that experience, staying in college, getting that extra year at LSU, certainly helped his stock, right? Certainly got him the Heisman. But more importantly, it is making him so much more pro-ready than some of these guys. Like you mentioned, I think Trey Lance is a great example. He played at North Dakota State for, a year, and you jump to the NFL and you're not having success? Wow, shocker.
Yeah, shocking.
Well, I think it's really good that this week the Bucs are going to get a taste of Tua, who's going to, when he drives his bus in and over Brian Flores.
Yeah.
When he moves past his dead body that he just rolled over, and he comes into Tampa. I saw this a couple of years ago. This guy is so good at predicting where his receivers are going to be. His anticipation's as good as anybody in the league. The ball comes out on time and it comes out on target. Yep. This is going to be a joint practice where these corners are going to get worn out against this Dolphins passing game.
Hill and
Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle's hurt. Yeah. But they've got great.
Well, it's going to be a good test because the Jaguars, specifically Thomas, and also tight end Evan Ingram too, got behind the Bucs defense a lot in those joint practices, like too many times. And so I think Zion McCollum got shredded on the first day. He gave up 3 touchdowns, a deep one, and then 2 red zone touchdowns. And so he needs a bounce back practice against another team, and he needs to have a good game too. He's got a ton of confidence. He's not shaken by this, but he is still a young, developing corner that needs more experience. And sometimes, when you're the fastest guy in the field, you kind of get lulled to sleep a little bit. You kind of trick yourself that, well, no one can get by me. But here's the thing: if you don't have the eye discipline, right? If you can't read what route the receiver's running, right, and know that you're going to get a sluggo, which is a slant and go. And that's what got Tyke Smith, who had a great week and probably the best defensive back on the field, not named Antoine Winfield Jr. But he got beat by Brian Thomas Jr. on Thursday's practice just because of the sluggo. Like, he read the slant, and then Thomas just took it straight up the field and was wide open. And Kayvon Merriweather got beat as well. So I want to see this Bucs defense not get beat deep. They didn't get beat deep during the game except for one play, and it was like a 20-something yard shot. But they need to do a better job. Casey Rogers, this is interesting. One more little note for you. he's the one that was calling the plays during the weekend practice and also the
Right.
game. So is it any surprise, since he's the defensive line coach, they got 5 sacks, but they could not stop anybody on 3rd and 16 and 3rd and 17? He can't call coverages. So this week it's going to be Larry Foote, who's a coverage specialist. He does the back end. He's the inside linebackers coach. We'll see if they are better in coverage this week with Larry Foote calling the plays against the Dolphins tomorrow and also in the game on Friday night.
All right, Scotty, tell us what's going on with Pewter Report this week as we get the Dolphins coming in here and get headed towards the season opener.
Yeah, we're previewing the Dolphins practice and game today on today's podcast on Pewter Report TV. We're over 15,000 subscribers now, which is awesome. We appreciate all the Pewter people out there for subscribing to our channel. And then we've got the post-game podcast Friday night on Pewter Report TV live about an hour after the game. So make sure you tune in for that. We've got all the coverage that you want from today's training camp practice as well as tomorrow's joint practice on pewterreport.com. Make sure you follow us on social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
Thank you, partner. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. Take care, Tim.
All right.
We'll see you.
All right, we'll see you, man.
We'll take a quick break here. Anthony Becht's going to join us. We're going to talk some UFL. The St. Louis Battlehawks head coach will join us here. Another great season for them. And we'll also get into the Jets. Anthony's doing that preseason as well. And we'll talk some Bucs, as we always do. And maybe even a little Iowa State football with Rocco, his son, being the quarterback. Absolutely. So lots of football coming your way. We're so thankful that Italiano Insurance is on with us. I think this is our 14th year with Italiano Insurance. So big thanks to Jeff Italiano and Nat Italiano, all the great Seminoles over there for our FSU report and sponsoring our FSU trip to Dublin. I'll see Jeff over there. Can't wait. And if you need any insurance services whatsoever, Italiano Insurance, local company, does so much in the community. Why not give them a call? 813-877-7799. They will save you money, folks. I'm telling you, they've saved me thousands on my auto insurance, $500 on our homeowners insurance this year. They can do it. They do all the work. You get the savings. 813-877-7799. Back in 3. Discover a world of elegance and sophistication at the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're searching for your first piece or celebrating a special milestone, their expert team is here to guide you every step of the way. Navigating the world of fine jewelry can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Their knowledgeable staff is dedicated to helping you choose the perfect piece, ensuring you feel confident and informed. At the Gold and Diamond Source, they pride themselves on offering only the highest quality jewelry. From stunning engagement rings to timeless watches, each piece is crafted with precision and care. So take advantage of their 5 years interest-free financing. This means you can get a $5,000 piece and only pay $83 a month. And if you're new to buying diamonds, their first-time buyer program will educate you on the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, and carat, and help you understand the different shapes and sizes available. Go enjoy the great staff at the Gold and Diamond Source. You'll be family forever. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez in Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. As we head into summer and hurricane season, you must make sure that your home is fully insured. Over 40% of people in Florida are not fully insured because property rates have gone up lately. Your home is worth more, so it needs to be insured. Call the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 to make sure you're fully insured. And also, you might just save some money. There are new companies coming into the state all the time. In fact, we just shopped our homeowners insurance, and I'm telling you, folks, we saved over $550 because Charity, the great customer service at Italiano Insurance, did all the work and found us a better company and a cheaper company. She'll do the same for you. 813-877-7799. Do something about these high rates. Shop them around. Could save you lots of money. It's Italiano Insurance. Been doing business here locally for over 60 years. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now.
Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we roll on here, Anthony Becht's going to join us here in a little bit and talk all kinds of UFL, Bucs, Rams, or Jets, Iowa State. We are thankful to our great. Having a little audio issue here. I don't know what's going on, but the music sounds a little weak. I don't know what it is, but hope you guys
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Like you guys can hear us clear. Thanks to Extravaganza Productions, one of our great sponsors, Paul Thomason and Dolly Brown over there do a great job. If you got a meeting coming up, a business meeting, you need a little bit of production help or a charity event, you want to put a new spin on it, get the great creative folks at EPI to help you out. They'll do a free creative meeting with you. Just come on over to the office in the warehouse there. They got tons of props, a huge warehouse full of props. Check out what they can do at Extravaganza Productions, and they'll help you out. EPI, that's extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you. All right, we'll hit a couple of other things here before Anthony jumps aboard. We're going to do a Miami preview after we talk to so we'll do a little bit more on that. I was, speaking of college football, I was in the FSU group the other day, and there's a big, there's a big debate going on right now for all of us folks that are going to Dublin. Like how classy can we keep it at the college game day show? Like how bad is it going to be for Kirk Herbstreit? What are the signs going to look like? Should we keep it classy? A lot of them are like, why don't we just ignore them? Nobody show up, and that'll be the biggest thing. I'm like, no, we can't do that.
It's too much of a missed opportunity.
It's going to be so cathartic just to boo the shiz out of him every time he starts talking. Like, I mean, just every time he opens his mouth, boo.
It's going to be great.
Even the national, well, the rest, everybody already hates us anyway. So it'd be like, we can't hear what he's saying. These asshole FSU fans. I'm like, yeah, I can't. I don't know. It hurts so much. It hurts so much, and it still hurts. And it wasn't just and we all know that it wasn't just because we lost our quarterback. We all know what the deal is. We know the code red was ordered. We know it was all political. And you still want to sit there and say, oh, what about his quarterback? You've never done that before. The committee's never done that before. And it just so happened that Kirk Herbstreit led the way, and it was his narratives from I saw it like before Jordan even got hurt. He was already talking about it, and that proof positive it wasn't just because of Jordan, or it was all about Jordan.
Yeah,
he started it was like week 10 or whatever it was before Jordan got hurt. Oh, look at this team. They don't belong. I know they're undefeated, but they definitely don't belong in the college football playoff. And I'm like, as soon as I saw that, I talked about it on the show. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. Here we go. And so we'll see. I think it's going to be it's going to be great television. Tune in to College Game Day. There's going to be literally tens of thousands of FSU fans there. And it's going to be ugly. By the way, the only undefeated team in the history of College Game Day that didn't get a home College Game Day last year.
Yeah.
So if you don't think there was a little bit more something to it, there was, in my humble opinion.
Yep.
All right, let's bring in our good friend Anthony Becht, head coach of the St. Louis Battlehawks. Once again, won their
He's in the building!
former champion of the XFL, UFL. What's up, my friend? How are you?
All's good, guys. Good morning. How are you?
Morning.
We are fantastic, man. Good to catch up with you. I know you're doing Jets preseason as well, and Rocco, I'm guessing, is still getting settled in there. Did he come home for the summer, or did he stay out in Iowa State the whole time?
No, yeah. I mean, if you want to take the steps that are proper into being a good player, you got to stick around. So, yeah, he's been there. He loves it there. It's good. We had him July 4th for a week, and then right after classes ended in May, he was home for a couple weeks. But we go see him. We don't want to disrupt the process, So if we got to go see the kids, we'll take those rides up to Florida State or Iowa State.
Is he like a rock star? Just rock star crazy?
I mean, yeah, look, he's a pretty popular guy in town. I mean, every time we go eat or do something that, there's Rocco, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. He's good though. He takes it in stride, and it's nice. I mean, you got to earn that right. So it's been pretty cool.
And this season coming up, there's the Iowa State will always be overlooked, but they're getting their due. I've read some art, and they're like, Rocco's the real deal. This Iowa State team, they're well coached. I wouldn't want them on my schedule. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were a game away from being in the Big 12 championship last year with a super young roster. Everybody's back. They lost a corner to the draft, and their Sam outside linebacker tore his knee up in spring ball. So you're looking at 19 starters back. Everyone's back on offense.
Wow.
And I mean, listen, those things matter, right? You talk about continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Campbell's very cyclical, so this is his cycle. And yeah, I think those that know the game and know what's the league, and I think it's wide open, but they're absolutely, they only lost to Texas, Oklahoma, and a close Kansas game last year. So, the schedule's good. They got to get it. Iowa's the big test early. It always is the big game. Mm-hmm. It's always a close game, and I think they learned a lot from last year's game against them.
Anthony, continuity on a college roster is not something we hear about a lot these days with the transfer portal and just the way the game's progressed a little bit. But what is it about that Iowa State program that keeps guys wanting to stay there and keep playing?
I think there's a culture that when they bring these players in, they understand and believe in, and there's some loyalty to that. Now, it's very tough to ask a kid. They didn't lose any player, any starter from last year to the portal.
That's crazy.
And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money on the table for several guys. And, Iowa State has done a fantastic job with their NIL. They're not, maybe Florida State or Bama or Georgia, but they are willing to take care of their players. Now, they're not going to pay a kid coming out of high school. You're going to have to earn it there, and that's up front. And I don't think, the players that you want out there to play the game and do it right, I think those guys understand that, and that's fine. But they'll take care of you on the back end, and it's still growing. And listen, with this lawsuit, it's not going to matter at this point. Everybody's going to have enough money to do what they want. So that game changes here in July of next year. So look, it means a ton, though. You're right. It's not familiar. It's not something that's common. Ohio State was able to buy back everybody, but they got them all back, and that means, and they sprinkled in some new pieces. And again, just some of the top tier teams. Guys want to go to the league, do some things. If they're not getting drafted and they're coming back and they're good players, that continuity means a lot.
I don't know how much you want to share about this. So if you don't, just tell me to F off. But I'd be super interested to know what the dynamic was like with Rocco and teams coming after him, because I would think every big program that had a question at quarterback was coming after him and Byron Brown here at USF. If you feel like sharing any of it, what was that like?
Yeah, listen, there were some calls reached out to me, and just I have a large, obviously, network of coaches, whatever that may be. And some may look at it as that's the dirty part of the business. But I mean, listen, this is where we're at, right? But the one thing I did is don't reach out to my son, don't disrupt him.
Cool.
He doesn't. None of that matters, and then none of that means anything to him. So, and these are conversations you have, and I'm very open and honest, with Iowa State and all them, but they were very proactive in the process. So I think, to me, you hear maybe some of these schools or whatever, like, oh, if the first thing the kid says in high school is, it's not. It's just, it's a real thing. And when you have players that have obviously not coming out of high school but have accomplished something and they've earned the right to be in that conversation, schools understand that, and I think that's where I respect the process so far with Iowa State is, look, the goal is not, we don't want to leave, right? I mean, Rocco has a lot to learn. He's in a really good situation. Those things matter, and there is a big piece of the puzzle down the road if that process continues to take the strides. And that's a long way away, but it's not. I mean, we're already in his third year, right? So it's all there.
Yeah.
So as long as he is in the right spot, what he's learning, the coaching staff around him, all those things check the boxes. All those other things fall into place.
Yeah, a lot of these quarterbacks go chasing stuff, and it's new systems and new players, and it's not necessarily the best choice. So I think he's super smart by doing that and staying there. They have a great program. I'm shocked they keep the coach, to be honest with you, and he's been super loyal to the players. Loyalty is fleeting in this business, as you know, Anthony, but you see it at Iowa State, and you saw it at Florida State. I mean, Mike Norvell could have had the Alabama job if he wanted it. It was his to be had. And the reason he stayed at FSU wasn't because it's a better program than Alabama. It's not.
To me, man, when you're at the peak and you're at a program that you can do great things at. I mean, first of all, if I'm Mike Norvell, do you want to be in the SEC or do you want to be in the ACC if we're talking about a path to the 12, right? I mean, to me, those are the two conferences. If I'm other teams, I mean, I get it. Yeah, you're going to make more money as a team in the SEC and the Big Ten. I get that, but you're getting pummeled, right? And not that the competition is lack, because I think the Big 12, top to bottom, is a very, very competitive conference. But you're just not the elite talent on a week-to-week basis is not going to be there versus where there's sporadic talent spaced out through the Big 12. So, and then it's quality of life, man. Like, what do you want? Like, at some point, it's like, is there a difference between 9 and 11 million? Yeah, for some, but at the end of the day, man, like, how's your wife, your kids? I mean, when you're in Ames, $5.5 million, and then he's coming up on an extension here this year or next year with the right players in place to help him get that. I mean, what do you want your kids, and how do you want those things? Go a long way in Ames, right? So
yeah, they do.
Internally, there's probably goals that coaches have, but again, it's like, what do you want out of this thing, man? You're getting to coach great kids. Their roster, top to bottom, at Iowa State these guys are phenomenal. And not that Florida State or Alabama don't have those same guys. They do. But you do sprinkle in some of those, pieces that you're like, we got to deal with this, and that. So, what do you want out of those jobs that you're at? But when you're at the peak, Mike Norvell, to me, would be silly to go anywhere else moving forward, unless he can't win there, right? Unless he doesn't have the support. And, it looks like that's changing. So that's a good thing.
Well, what's going on with your head coaching career, Mr. Win every year? 7-3 this year, lost in the semifinals, and a tough loss there. But you've had a great run there. People knocking on your door?
I've had some opportunities, obviously, to transition to maybe NFL. I just don't know if a tight end coach or that nature somewhere where I think right now makes more sense than staying where I'm at. Clearly, if I had to look at this big picture, I'd love to be a college head coach. I think that's the quickest route. I see a lot of coaches that are diving out of that. I want that. I think there's a lot of pieces of that puzzle that work well for me. I do think there's an advantage for me as a recruiter. I think there will be an advantage for me as a staff. I understand that, I can't just hire NFL players to be all my staff. I understand that, but there are key components, key positions that you have guys that are really true recruiters that I do know and have relationships with. And also the part that, okay, how do I sell a kid? Again, like I said, when all things are equal now with that whole, the money that's coming in moving forward, what is that head coach going to have to do to keep a guy to sell to a player that makes sense? And we all know they want to go to the NFL. Right. I just think, as I look at what I do with St. Louis and the UFL, these guys have holes. They're the college players that were really good, but yet not good enough. And we have to recruit these players to play in our league and on our team. So those things, I think, translate very well to the college scene. I think my style, my presence, not only inside the building, but on the field, but also the things that maybe coaches don't want to do. That clearly is a big part of building a program, that I check those boxes off at a high level and I embrace those things. So that time will come. Clearly getting those eggs and those things lined up, those ducks lined up accordingly. But I'm not going to sit here and say, now, can I do it in the NFL? Yeah, there's no question. I do believe I can be a head coach in the NFL. I'm around it. Now that I have this new gig with the Jets, taking over for Marty Lyons, I'm the new Dave Moore for the Jets now moving forward this season. I'm going to be around other organizations and places every single week now. That network will continue to grow and people will understand. Now, representation and all those things will come at some point when those things deem necessary for me. But, I love my space now. I get to see my son play. Yeah, exactly. I get to dabble in the NFL things. And it's a challenge in the UFL. You look at DC 2 years ago, they were 9-1, and then they had a losing record this year. Retention is ever changing with rosters. You have to continue to build that. I'm very well involved in that. And I think another part of this is the general manager, quote unquote, the recruiting side of football. I think I have a great eye for talent. I coach at the high school level and these developmental levels. And I know a lot of people in that space that know and see talent. Now, they're NFL people, but that's the transition right now that colleges are going for. They're looking for GMs. They're looking for that salary cap guy. My Rolodex is deep with those pieces. So I just think that there's a lot there among some other things that if I just get in front of the right AD or the right people, those things will maybe open some eyeballs and get some people excited.
Anthony, one of the big topics of conversation in the NFL this year is the new so-called dynamic kickoff, which, of course, you were familiar with and we're familiar with from the old XFL days. And oddly, the UFL did not bring it with them when they merged the XFL and the USFL. And I'm not sure why, because it was one of my favorite aspects of the XFL here in Dallas. But what are your thoughts on that? I thought it set the XFL apart from some of the other leagues when they utilized it. Thought it was an exciting aspect of the game. Now the NFL's adopting it, at least on a trial basis. But the UFL didn't pick it up. Any thoughts to what the reasoning was on that?
Listen,
they didn't ask you, did they?
I'm a huge advocate of it. I brought a full PowerPoint with 10 pros on why it made sense to continue it. But I can only go so far in my reach, and it goes above me. And but I love it. I did not like it the first day I stepped on campus and we were doing this, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, what are we doing? And as the season went on, man, I'm like, this is good. This works. And it's nice when you led the XFL in that category as well. So,
why did you like
it? A lot of teams look at our film. Spoke to a lot of special teams coordinators. I think it's going to be good. Very vanilla in the preseason. You're not going to see much. It's hard to. You can only do so many things with picks and wraps and stuff like that. You need to find out what 10 guys, or if you have 2 deep, 9 guys, can block the best for an extended period of time so that you can place the proper players in those positions to win. You will win, though. You saw some last week, a couple big returns. It will look a lot better, and you will get that. Now, teams may choose just to kick it out of the end zone, and that's their right. And the NFL is looking to maybe make it to 35 before the season starts. That's in conversation right now, just to make sure that they get it crystal clear. We want returns. So the return guys will be different. There'll be bigger bodies. There'll be maybe running backs. I don't think the traditional receiver is a great spot or a great player for that. It may be for one of the pieces if you have two guys in the back. but you got to break arm tackles. You got to find holes. It is traditional. It is a running play. You have to have guys that have eyes in tight quarters that can see those spaces. I think a few returning receivers get that. Cordell Patterson's a great example of a guy that would fit really well for this, and he's been doing that. So that he's going to go well in this. He could go to the Pro Bowl once again just because of this style. So I think fans will enjoy it. It'll change the game now, and your kicker, just like the extra point messed with the kickers' heads and they moved them back. You're going to see that now because some coaching will be like, hey, we got to drop it right on the 18, or we got to drop it, let it. That's tough, and that's when you start. That's when kickers start getting them brain freezes, man, and it's a challenge. So you got to have a good plan, and I think those teams that understand that will have a lot of success.
Love it. I love it. Have you been watching the Bucs at all? I know you're busy with the Jets.
Yeah, I'll check out highlights, obviously their moves and transactions and stuff like that, and really just all in all the division itself. I maybe
their offseason was incredible. I mean,
what's that?
Hard to get a better offseason than what Jason Light did. And they're getting no credit at all for the continuity piece, right? They kept their guys. They didn't go out and get anybody. If some other team would have signed all the guys the Bucs kept, they'd be going nuts that this is going to be one of the better teams in the league. But the Bucs are kind of under the radar where they want to be. What are your thoughts on it? I know Atlanta got better, but I still think the Bucs are, they're neck and neck. What are your thoughts on the NFC South?
Yeah, I was going to say about 2 weeks ago, I thought the Bucs were still the leader in the clubhouse. You're right. Atlanta has obviously made some changes now that change things, and two guys like that do, because they're game changers as far as the defense is concerned. I think the one thing with the Bucs, I like their ones. I think it's not necessarily a problem, but just in general, depth, what those pieces look like. And we all know things happen throughout a season.
Yep.
Do they have players that can jump in at guard or tackle or receiver or tight end that if they were needed in a 2-3 week span can get the job done? So I think Baker Mayfield is coming off a season to me that's was rewarding for him, but also confidence building. And again, those pieces are there for them to stay in every game, to be a dangerous team. And they're going to have to earn it every week. They're not going to go out there and win a game by two touchdowns, 17 points. So those are challenges too. But in that division, outside of the Falcons, they can sweep those teams and do those things to take those steps. But I think they'll be right in the mix. But you got to win the division in this division to get into the playoffs. You're not going to be able to sneak in as a 2 team.
And the Jets look like they're having fun already with Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers chatting with each other on the sideline or during practice. Of course, the media is going to make a lot out of that. What's going on with the dynamic with Aaron Rodgers, his receivers? What's your confidence level in the Jets making a run here?
Yeah, I mean, unbiased, it's high. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is playing, it's a difference, guys. They got a top 10, the first 8 weeks of the season, the defense basically gave them a chance to win every single week. And they had 4 quarterbacks rolling in at any given time. Their offensive line, if everyone stays healthy, is arguably a top 5, top 7 line. I mean, you're talking about across the board. Every player has changed from last year with legit dudes, but they're a tad older. And they gotta make it through the season. Breece Hall is a top 4 back in the league. I think he could be a LaDainian Tomlinson 2,000+ yard from scrimmage guy over the next 4 or 5 years, right? That's unquestionable. I think that if there's a question mark on the offense is who's the 2 receiver. Allen Lazard obviously did not perform well. He'll be the first one to tell you last year. Now with Aaron back, is that different now? Is there a confidence change?
Of course.
That's something we're looking for. We don't know if Mike Williams can be the same Mike Williams. He's on track to play. All that stuff's great, but is he going to be relatively close to what he was doing at his peak out west when he was playing out there? So those are 2 question marks, or at least 1 question mark offensively. And then on the defensive side, everybody's talking about Hassan Reddick. I'll be quite honest with you. Do they need him to come and play? And is he going to be a big part of this team and helping them be where they need to be? Absolutely. I truly believe Will McDonald is going to have a big season this year. Do I wish he was 10 pounds heavier? Absolutely. Do I think he's a premier pass rusher in this league, or can be, and can get you close to 10 sacks? I do believe that. And not because I'm wearing this hat. I've just seen a lot of ball from him, and I just see what he can do. He's got really good pass moves that are scary for tackles to take on because of his quickness, dip, and his first step. Now, They're also, okay, Tack McKinley. I don't think he was a guy that maybe people thought that he would be a contributor or even make the team. But from what I've seen, he looks like a guy right now who's healthy, who is determined and has urgency in his play and practice that leads me to believe that if he could be sprinkled in throughout the season, that he can be a great 14, 15 play guy that can really help you, and there wouldn't be a lot of drop off. That's just what he's showing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's a hungry guy that has nothing to lose right now. That's on a 1-year deal that, is he going to be what he was his first 2 years before his injuries and before he kind of got washed out? I don't know. But right now, I went back and watched him and Will every snap of preseason. It's only preseason, but the energy level, the speed, the quickness, the strength, the will, the urgency is all there. And I think that's what's being shown right now. And that eases the pain a little bit with the Hassan Reddick situation as the Jets move forward.
Well, listen, Anthony, love talking ball with you. And you should take that clip to any athletic director, because that was a hell of a resume right there that you put out there. I'd hire your ass in a heartbeat.
That's just a sprinkle. That's just a sprinkle right there.
Nice, bro. That was really well done.
I'm ready to run through my computer monitor for you right now.
Well, I didn't even give a speech yet. I mean, we got those are on Twitter and from the season from our team. But
I got to go find that.
Listen, no one had me on the radar in the UFL, XFL. I had to get in front of the people. I'll find a way. When that happens, that's when I can make it. But right now, we're just embrace the process, get better every day.
All right, partner. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. Great stuff.
Guys.
Great
Okay.
Anthony back right there. Yeah, hell yeah, he's gonna get a job. Hell yeah.
How about that, man?
I tell you what, and I'm just listen. USF has a big year. Golish goes. That's my first call right there.
I tell you what, I don't know if there's a guy
He lives about 10 miles, probably not even that, 5 miles from USF.
Right.
Hell yeah, I would call him
would
in a
that
heartbeat.
be?
I would call him in a heartbeat.
Might not be another guy that tells it more just like it is than Anthony Becht, right?
Yeah, no, he keeps it real, and he resume is for real. I mean, first round pick, played at West Virginia, played 14 years in the NFL, knows every part of it, and that's the same with the UFL. Everybody's on par as far as talent goes. It really shows who the great coaches are. If you consistently win in a league like that, that shows that's coaching, man. That's coaching. That's organization. That's, game day, getting them ready. It's everything.
14-6 over 2 seasons with the battle log.
Pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking good.
Especially in a league where turnover and losing guys is the name of the game. That's what's going to happen. So yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. He's got a great coaching future ahead of him, where if he goes NFL or college. But I think he, like he said, I think he runs towards all those issues in college. Like I'll NIL it. Hell yeah. We'll transfer portal it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and do our Hurricanes preview for all you Miami fans and, of course, FSU and Florida fans. You'll be playing those Hurricanes. What do they got? They got a lot of talent. That's what they got. So, quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. Dudes, it's not just for ladies at the Golden Diamond Source. I know the ladies love all the sparkle and all the beautiful diamonds, and they have the diamond savings account. But for you guys, they got a great selection of those baller watches, rings, necklaces, all kinds of cool stuff there for you guys. So head on in and tell them JP sent you. It's a man's world at the Golden Diamond Source as well. So check it out. 3800 Wilmington Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3. As we head into summer and hurricane season, you must make sure that your home is fully insured. Over 40% of people in Florida are not fully insured because property rates have gone up lately. Your home is worth more, so it needs to be insured. Call the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 to make sure you're fully insured. And also, you might just save some money. There are new companies coming into the state all the time. In fact, we just shopped our homeowners insurance, and I'm telling you, folks, we saved over $550 because Charity, the great customer service at Italiano Insurance, did all the work and found us a better company and a cheaper company. She'll do the same for you. 813-877-7799. Do something about these high rates. Shop them around. Could save you lots of money. It's Italiano Insurance. Been doing business here locally for over 60 years. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you. Discover the collection of men's jewelry that combines classic style with contemporary flair at the Gold and Diamond Source. From sophisticated watches to bold rings, find pieces that reflect your personality and stand the test of time. Each piece in their men's collection is crafted with precision and attention to detail, ensuring quality and durability. Whether it's a sleek bracelet or a striking pendant, our jewelry makes a statement. From everyday wear to special occasions, our men's jewelry is designed to complement any outfit and add a touch of sophistication. Shop versatile pieces that transition seamlessly from casual to formal. Browse our extensive range of men's jewelry, including rings, bracelets, necklaces, and cufflinks. Whether you prefer understated elegance or bold designs, they have something for every taste. Visit their knowledgeable staff to help you find that perfect piece. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Let's go.
Right now.
Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Rogers Park Top Tracer Golf Range. If you haven't been out there, folks, go check it out. It's brand new, 10 bays, got a beautiful bar outside there, great food as well that you can get. Their stuff, their people are charging $65, $75 an hour for at other places, $25 an hour at Rogers Park, and then up to $35 and $45 for peak times. But it's well below market value, and it's absolutely tremendous. And you get to hit into a range, not into a net, which I really like. So go out there and check it out. And if you don't want to play the different courses with your buddies, which you can play on the Top Tracer, which is very accurate, by the way, and just hit balls. Balls are included in the rate, and you can get the feedback on your swings, see how far you're hitting your irons. Really good. It'll help your game, and you'll have tons of fun. It's the Rogers Park Top Tracer Golf Range. Go to rogersparkgolf.net and make your reservations now. Great place out there. All right,
can't wait. First place I'm going to hit when I get to Tampa.
Yeah, come on down. Come on down.
That and some big outdoor bar.
Salt Shack is the place to go. Let's let the Buccaneers sign their contracts where Jason Light hangs out. And Jason will be joining us in the next couple weeks before the season starts. So we appreciate him agreeing to do that. He's like, don't throw too many heaters at me. I'm like, bro, you're hitting nothing but grand slams. My best fastball could not get by you right now.
Yep.
You're hitting nothing but home runs. So he'll be joining us at some point. All right, let's talk some Miami Hurricanes football. They will start the season at Florida, August 31st at 3:30. which I think is going to be one hell of a football game. You know, the Gators are talented. I mean, they have a ridiculously tough schedule, but coming out of the box, I think this is going to be a great football game. And I think Miami, you go up and down this roster, Timmy, starting with Cam Ward, who transferred in, who was headed for the NFL, but the Hurricanes, it was down to FSU and Miami, and he decided to forego the NFL and go to Miami and play for the Hurricanes. And he's got, Restrepo coming back at receiver, who's by the time this season is over, is going to be the all-time leading receiver for the University of Miami. And they've had some pretty good ones there, if you haven't been paying attention. They've got some good weapons in their offensive line. They bring back 3 starters. Zach Carpenter transferred in from Indiana, starting center. That'll help them there. They've got a lot of good players coming back on this offensive side. And Cam Ward's a hell of a player. You know, he's preseason. Many have him as the ACC Player of the Year. I can see why. Offensively, this team should not struggle to put up points. What are your thoughts on their offense?
Yeah, you know, I don't think anybody questions their offense headed into the season. And look, this is a pivotal season for Miami, I think, and Mario Cristobal.
Yeah.
After just a disaster of last year, they started 4-0. They lost 6 of their last 9 games. You had that absolute disaster against Georgia Tech when all you had to do was kneel the ball,
take a knee,
and you win. But no, it turned into a 23-20 loss. Look, he went 7-6 last year. He's entering his third year. They need to see something from him. He's 12-13 overall there. And as far as the offense goes, JP, I don't think the offense anybody questions the offense, right? Cam Ward's a stud. Everybody knows it. You lost Tyler Van Dyke, who I don't know personally. I don't know which guy I'd rather have. I know that Van Dyke's rated a little bit higher on some of those grading systems.
Well, everybody told us he was going to be the second coming last year, and that didn't happen. And you have to ask why.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lack of talent.
Right.
So you got to go right to coaching. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, and they have, look, make no mistake, Cristobal's got at his disposal probably the best roster in the SEC, in the ACC, without question. But I don't think the offense is a question. I think the defense is your biggest strength, and it's also their biggest weakness, if that makes sense. I think the defensive line is probably the strongest unit on the field for them. All the guys returning. Behind them, I think the secondary is probably their weakest positional unit on the field. But overall, you know, it balances out. And like you said, it's all going to go to coaching this year for Miami. They have no excuses anymore. And they haven't the last couple of years. But because Cristobal's such a beloved figure in Miami lore, you know, and he should be, there's no more excuses. He's been given a pass here for 2 years. He's got to show it this year or you know, he's going to be out of a job, and he should be.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to produce. He's got to beat Florida. He can't lose to both Florida State and Miami. And Florida. He'll be done. No question about it. But they got Damian Martinez coming in from Oregon State, running back. He ran for 1,185 yards last year. So they've got a good transfer portal coming in there. They've already got good receivers. I think you can't point to the talent. You just can't point to the talent. There's no question about it. They're ranked 19th. And we mentioned the opener against Florida. And they've got FSU at home, which is a big deal. That's going to be probably about the only home game they sell out. But that's I think the game of the year for them. And Florida State I think we've won 5 in a row, at least 4 in a row against Miami. So I think that's good. October 26th. That's the game. That's the game for them. And they've got to find out a way to beat Florida State, which last year the score was closer than I think the game was. And they've got to find a way to beat FSU. They've been their nemesis for quite some time now.
Yeah. Well, you might have a new nemesis on the calendar, with Georgia Tech. They meet Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech on November 9th. I'll be paying attention to that game because they're going to want revenge, right? Like they're going to say last year was just a mistake. It wasn't us. But, you know, I know Georgia Tech's been playing well. They've they've got a good offense, which is beyond me. With Haynes King as their quarterback, I still don't know how they have a good offense because he's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life play football. But it is what it is.
Delivery, man.
God, his throwing motion, it looks like it hurts. Like it hurts me to watch it. I can't watch it.
So, yeah, they start at Florida, 3:30. Oh, that's going to be hot. August 31st. Then they got FAMU week 2 at home. Then they got Ball State coming in. I don't know anything about Ball State. Some years they're a pretty good football team.
At home.
Then they're at USF Saturday, September 21st. No game time on that yet, but that's not going to be a pushover game.
Could be a night game if Miami's playing well.
Yeah, I think that might be a Raymond J. Ooh, that'll be a good one. Saturday, September 21st. Mark your calendars there. Then they got Virginia Tech coming in there. Good football team. Finished really strong last year. That's at home. Then they got to go out to Cal.
It's a long trip, man.
Out to play the that ACC stalwart, that Atlantic Coast stalwart, California Golden Bears at Cal Memorial Stadium. But again, that's going to be their freaking Super Bowl out there. You know that with Miami coming in. Then they have the week off, and then they go travel to Louisville. So back to back at Louisville. Going to be a really good football team this year. Then they're home against your Florida State Seminoles. No time on that, but that'll be a night game. I guarantee
for sure. Yep.
Then they got Duke at home as their old coach Mario Diaz comes back to face them. Then they're at Georgia Tech the next week. Not going to be a pushover, obviously. And then Wake Forest comes to Hard Rock Stadium Saturday, November 23rd. Then they go up to Syracuse. At Syracuse, you better not lose that one. November 30th. And then the ACC championship game will be December 2nd, which Miami will not be playing.
And look, don't sleep on this travel schedule for Florida, for Miami either, man, because trips to Syracuse, Cal,
at USF,
at
Louisville.
I mean, that's going to wear on you, man, throughout
at Georgia
the season.
Tech. Yeah.
So it's that traveling to the West Coast especially is a big deal. Now, who they don't have on the schedule in terms of new ACC foes, the SMU Mustangs, of course, here in my backyard. So next year, which I think they'll play next year.
Yeah.
Guess what game I'm going to that I haven't been to an SMU Mustangs game since they played the Aggies in 2014?
What?
I'm going to see Miami, dude. I'm going to see Miami.
Hell yeah. SMU, do you know what their home schedule is this year?
No, but I can tell you what it is real quick if you give me just a second.
They may have some interesting games. Hard to believe. SMU, Cal, Stanford. Yeah, I mean, I think FSU played. Did FSU play Stanford?
So let's see. They open against Nevada on the 24th. Then HCU. 31st, you've got BYU at SMU on September 6th. Of course, TCU at SMU, that rivalry game. Florida State travels to SMU on September 28th. Guess what game I'm going to this year, JP?
You'll be there.
I will go see Florida State, especially if they're still a top 10 team, at SMU on the 28th. SMU travels to Louisville on the 5th, October 5th. SMU at Stanford on the 19th after their bye week, and then SMU goes to Duke on the 26th. Pitt comes to town November 2nd. Boston College on November 16th comes to town. SMU goes to Virginia and then finishes the season at here at SMU against Cal. So, some fun. I'm glad SMU's finally back in a notable conference, for the love of God. Get some talent coming here to town. So, and they got a great stadium, man. Gerald J. Ford Stadium's a great stadium. It is a great venue for football. And it's right just north of downtown Dallas on the hilltop and on the campus of SMU. And I wish they still played at the Cotton Bowl, but Gerald J. Ford Stadium is such a great venue. It's amazing.
What is it, like a 30,000 seat stadium? I think I've been on the campus of SMU. I think I ran by that. So
35. Yeah, no, it's like
a huge stadium.
I think TCU's holds about 42. They're probably pretty close to each other. So size wise.
Yeah. Cotton Bowl's it's a dump. Come on, man.
Dude, it's almost 100 years old now, but what's funny is, though, I know I've talked about this on the air before, but the amenities in the press box, you still think you're traveling back to 1940 when you go into the press box. It's just, I swear to God, it's never been
press box I was in 1991 when we played the Aggies
Yep.
to a 14-12. I think we lost that one, didn't we?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like
And
14-12, and it was like 12 degrees. It was freezing freaking cold that day.
right. And you know what? I guarantee you the only difference between the press box now and the press box when you were there in 1991, JP, is now there's just wires going everywhere from the data cables and crap. Now that we have internet
They had
and
to
stuff
add. Yeah.
that they had to add, and they didn't even try to hide it. It's just hanging everywhere and it goes across the floor, and it's crap. But hey, man, the Cotton Bowl's history. That's what they tell you.
Well, it would be like me, if Miami still played at the Orange Bowl, which of course they haven't won squat since they left there.
Right.
So, I don't know. I know this though. Every week, college football is going to be freaking huge. It's so many good games. And it starts this week. I'm going to be at a freaking FSU game on Saturday.
That's insane.
Saturday in Dublin, Ireland. I'm going to be with my kids are going.
Oh, wow.
Of course, my son Cullen is just like, biggest FSU fan. We go to one away game every year. We've been doing that for a long, long time, but I never envisioned us going to Dublin for an FSU game. So,
right.
And
is this considered a home game for them, or is this a road game for them?
I don't know. It's a neutral site, neutral site kickoff game. I don't know who's been designated the home team. Probably Georgia Tech. I don't know how many fans they're bringing, but probably I know FSU. It seems like it's probably going to be 70-30 FSU fans, I would think. I mean, so many people going. Somebody from the Tampa Bay area are going. So very much looking forward to it. On Thursday, we're William Floyd, bar none, who is the analyst voice of the FSU radio network. We'll be doing an event. So we hope to be doing our show from there on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're not quite sure which pub we're going to be at, but we'll be somewhere for our show with you, and we'll line up a few guests as well.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll
have some. You have some Guinnesses on the table there while you during the show.
God. Absolutely, bro.
So what time? So is it 7 hours ahead?
6 hours
ahead. Okay, so man, you'll be right in the heart of lunch when you're doing your own show. You'll have all the beer.
No,
and
it's happy hour. It's 4 to 6.
Oh,
so it's perfect. We'll be right in the middle of happy hour at the pubs. Yeah,
there you go.
We're very, very much looking forward to it. We're going into London. We're flying into London. So we leave tonight, get in there early tomorrow morning, do the old red eye. And then we'll hang out in London for a day. Hopefully not get robbed like Matsuyama or get caught up in a riot or two. We're right there on Hyde Park. Our hotel is right there on Hyde Park. So we'll be tooling around that area. Going to go to the British Museum. Looking forward to that. I'm a big museum guy. Love the big museum guy. So they've got some really good Egyptian artifact shows going on at the British Museum. So I'll be nerding out in there. Probably find a pub or two, and I think we may be going to a Premier League game because on the backside on the Sunday, Scott has a couple of clients or something that work for one of the Premier League teams. So we might be going to a Premier League team because we're going to go back to London, then fly out Monday. So we will have plenty of stories for you guys. And fun shows coming up Thursday and Friday from Dublin, Ireland. And listen, this is no layup for FSU. Georgia Tech has been building. They brought in they just signed a 5-star offensive lineman that they beat Alabama, FSU, Georgia for. So recruiting has been going well for Georgia Tech, and I always thought that they should be a better program. Program. They went through a long period there where they were running the triple option with George O'Leary, and then was the other coach, and they were successful. And, they get good athletes. There's too many good players in Georgia to not get good athletes. So now they've modernized their offense. I'm not in love with their quarterback, but he's been effective. He beat Miami. So
are they in? They're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, they're right downtown Atlanta.
So they play in the Braves. They play in the Braves' old stadium, right? They converted to a football?
That's Georgia State.
Oh, that's Georgia State.
Tech plays in Bobby Dodd Stadium, right there. Right across I-75 from the varsity, there in downtown Atlanta. It's a beautiful little stadium. It holds like 50,000. When that place is full, Florida State. I was at a game there, 13 or 14, when Georgia Tech won on a blocked field goal. Oh my God, that was horrible. That was a horrible walk home. Oh my God.
That
One of the
Georgia
worst of
State
my life.
Stadium's a train wreck, man. That converted baseball stadium. It just looks
Oh, yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, I haven't really seen it, but we drove by it. But that Georgia Tech Stadium is really, really cool. It's intimate, right in downtown Atlanta. It's really good. So they, I think that's a program on the come a little bit. So we'll see. But listen, Florida State's got to take care of their own business. They've got tremendous talent. I think they're going to ground and pound Georgia Tech to death. And defensively, I think FSU is going to be really, really good. But they've got an interesting schedule. FSU does. It's it's not. There's not a lot of gimmies on here. They got Georgia Tech and then Boston College, who wasn't great last year. Memphis is a good freaking, they're a good team. They come to Florida State, and then Cal. I have no idea what Cal has this year. Then they got to go to SMU at SMU. Then they got Clemson coming there. Clemson's obviously very talented. Then they're at Duke and at Miami. And then the North Carolina comes to town. They've been a top 25 team under Mac Brown. Then they got to go to Notre Dame on November 9th. And they got Charleston Southern at home. And then they got Florida at home to end the season. There's not a whole lot of gimmies on that schedule. So going to be fun, though, and it starts this week. All right, partner. I'm off, and let's host their.
We're all drunk.
Yeah, no Goster chairless on our Dublin flight.
No, not yet.
Lord willing. And we'll make it unurinated on all the way across.
We'll see.
And we don't get arrested in London. All right, partner. Thank you guys for watching. If you missed anything, don't forget great conversations with Scott Reynolds and Anthony Becht was off the chain today. So if you missed anything, go check it out on our podcast, or you can always watch it on YouTube, on Facebook, lots of different places. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day, everybody.
F-U, 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 and F-U. Peace out. I'm going to go have a Guinness.